Hello, friends. I am Tom Downey. That is Jimmy Crowther. And NBA free agency not supposed to start for another hour. Well, they're kind of breaking all of the rules here. Here's the breaking news. As you see at the bottom of your screen, Kevin Durant has picked his new destination. He is heading to the Brooklyn Nets. They beat out the New York Knicks, the Golden State Warriors, the Clippers, and a bunch of other teams that, never really were going to be in the mix there for. And it's going to be a 4-year, $142 million max deal. Of course, Durant will miss most of this year. I'll also make note here for Brooklyn. They're set to land Kyrie Irving officially at 5 or 6 o'clock Eastern time. They're also going to land DeAndre Jordan. So a clean sweep here for Brooklyn, Jimmy, as they nail the opening hours of NBA free agency.
They get 2 of the top 3, arguably, available players in free agency. They go out and get a top, available center in DeAndre Jordan, who's, despite what he kind of does sometimes, despite the fact that he's declining, I'm frazzled. There's so much free agency stuff happening right now. Despite what DeAndre Jordan lacks at this point in his career, he's still a reliable double-double player, and he's still a lob threat a lot of the time, too. This is an absolute win for the Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah. So, again, they add DeAndre Jordan. They add Kevin Durant. Knicks fans are in shambles everywhere after the dream scenario of Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, which was what what the New York Knicks wanted to do, and of course retain DeAndre Jordan, ends up happening in Brooklyn instead. So again, if you're just joining us here, Kevin Durant is heading to the Brooklyn Nets. We're getting in the early action here for NBA free agency. He will join up with Kyrie Irving and DeAndre Jordan. So Jimmy, what is your one-word reaction to this signing here?
Winning.
Okay,
I mean, that is what Brooklyn is absolutely doing. I love the fact that they hurdled the big brother New York team in the Knicks, and they kind of just said, hey, you guys have been here longer, but now it's our time to shine. And they went out and got Kyrie, who's an absolute star point guard. They went out and got Kevin Durant. And here's the thing.
Someone says disgusted.
What Kyrie does and adding DeAndre Jordan does is it makes you a playoff team without Kevin Durant. And then when he gets back, right. And then when he gets back, if he's back in the playoffs, great, you can make a run at the Eastern Conference Finals, if not the Finals. And then next season, you make another run to the Eastern Conference Finals or the Finals if you're the Brooklyn Nets. I mean, what an incredible job by Brooklyn. And obviously nothing is official yet, but we're officially announcing Kevin Durant to the Brooklyn Nets.
Again, so Durant here heading over to Brooklyn there. The Nets also set to land Kyrie Irving and DeAndre Jordan. Now, of course, Durant will not play this upcoming season, or maybe if he comes back at the very end of the year in the postseason. And even if he's not the same guy he was coming off the Achilles, you'll take close to these figures when there might even be more volume for Durant leaving Golden State coming over to the Brooklyn Nets.
I mean, I don't think the scoring is really going to change almost at all if you're Kevin Durant, because you're going to get so many open looks with guys like Kyrie Irving there on the team. Now Joe Harris is posting up beyond the three-point arc. Like, he's a threat. You got to pay attention to guys like Karis LeVert. If DeAndre Jordan comes in, he's a lob threat. KD is not going to have to do everything on this Brooklyn team, and that's going to be so good for him coming off an Achilles injury. The dream always for the two was Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant teaming up, and everyone thought it was going to be New York. But now they're officially going, not officially, but they are going to Brooklyn together, and that's the deal here. So
here's what the potential Nets lineup looks like. We'll slot Kevin Durant in there because we know he's not going to play next year, but I mean, what's the point of having this up there otherwise? Kyrie Irving is in there. Joe Harris is in there. Can also add DeAndre Jordan to that bench as well in place of Nick Claxton, Karis LeVert, Joe Harris. They still have Spencer Dinwiddie. They have John Amusa, Taurean Prince, Rodions Kuric. That's a hell of a squad, man.
I mean, incredible. It was already a playoff team without either of these two guys, and now they got both of them. The only guys they end up losing are Allen Crabbe, who was on a ridiculous contract, and rest in peace, Allen Crabbe. He died for Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. And then you also lose, and let's also throw on the bench, Garrett Temple is apparently signing a 2-year, $10 million deal with the Brooklyn Nets. That's super impressive what Brooklyn has done. And the fact that, we haven't talked about this yet, the Knicks are the biggest losers now. I mean, those are two guys that they were targeting, and now what in the world are they going to do? It's going to be quite the wild ride for New York, both in Brooklyn and the Knicks.
So like you mentioned there is the report out there that Garrett Temple is going to sign a 2-year, $10 million deal. Of course, you can throw Kyrie Irving in there. In order, of course, to make these all fit in the end, D'Angelo Russell will be renounced by the Brooklyn Nets. They have to renounce his rights, get rid of that qualifying offer to afford to bring in Kevin Durant, to afford to bring in Kyrie Irving. In the end, that's kind of a no-brainer, quite simply.
Yeah, and the latest rumor on D'Angelo Russell, which we'll talk about here in just a little bit, is that he is meeting with the Minnesota Timberwolves, who don't have the money to make it happen right now, but they believe they can get a trade done. So I hope D'Angelo Russell gets a good deal. He deserves it after basically not carrying, but shouldering a lot of the weight to get this Brooklyn team back into playoff contention. And he's a large part of the reason this culture has shifted so much and has been able to, pun intended, net them a guy like Kevin Durant. I think what they've done here with this deal is just absolutely incredible. You really cannot ask for much more than KD plus Kyrie.
It's also probably going to be a $164 million deal, not a $142, so we'll update that, guys, here for you. In the end, it doesn't matter too much what the actual money is. It's a max contract here for Kevin Durant and the Brooklyn Nets. A huge win for the Nets. They're also, of course, bringing in DeAndre Jordan, too. Now, he's probably not going to start in Brooklyn.
I don't think he should, unless for some reason you want to play DeAndre Jordan and Jared Allen together, but that doesn't make much sense. I don't think Kenny Atkinson is the coach there, right, in Brooklyn, I believe. So I don't think he would do that. Maybe, just maybe, Jared Allen does come off the bench and DeAndre Jordan's more of a mentor, but Jared Allen was one of the most feared rim protectors in the league. Now, what Allen is bad at is rebounding. And what Jordan is good at is rebounding. And what Jordan has become increasingly worse at is rim protecting. And Jared Allen's bread and butter is rim protecting. So it's a nice switch between when you have a young guy and Jared Allen starting and you need a quick change of pace, DeAndre Jordan comes in. They could I think they could really, in all honesty, split the minutes pretty evenly.
Is there a better 1-2 punch at center in the NBA than DeAndre Jordan and Jared Allen?
Unless you really like Boban Marjanovic and you want to go Joel Embiid and Marjanovic. But no, I mean, those two back-to-back are incredible. And then they just drafted Nick Claxton out of Georgia, which I think it's kind of unfortunate that he's going to get buried behind those
stuck
two.
There now.
Because I was excited to see what he could do, but maybe
he's got a little bit of stretch ability, right?
Yeah, he does. He could even play power forward in this position, and I think it would make some sense. So, love all three of these pickups, and then add in a fourth in Garrett Temple.
So again, Durant heading to the Brooklyn Nets, a 4-year, $164 million deal. Of course, Kyrie Irving, not maybe a full-on package deal, but they're going to be paired together here in Brooklyn now. Does this make Brooklyn the automatic winner in free agency, Jimmy? Like, no matter what else happens, have they won already?
I'm going to say no, because there is a potential scenario that could beat this.
What is that scenario?
Kawhi Leonard and Jimmy Butler go to the Clippers together. I think that is better than an injured Kevin Durant and then what you get in Kyrie Irving. And I'd argue the supporting cast in Los Angeles would be better than a supporting cast in Brooklyn, but that is a super hypothetical scenario. Right now, Brooklyn is by far and away the winner. I also do not expect Kawhi Leonard to go to the Clippers. I do not expect Jimmy Butler to go to the Clippers. So if we want to base it on what we actually intend or what we actually think will happen, I'll say yes, they're the winners. But there are scenarios that could trump it.
All right, folks, let us know your one-word reaction on Durant heading to the Brooklyn Nets. I will give you guys some shout-outs here. You guys are doing a great job, by the way, with the bots. We appreciate that. Keep typing in bot there. We'll continue to shout these out here in terms of your one-word reactions. John Doe says snake. Kind of surprised we didn't get to that one there. Radar Hyde says sexy. I see a lot of wows, some more snakes, and a lot of snakes. A lot of snakes in the comments, which I guess, that's not a huge surprise there in the end,
But he's not a snake. Like, this isn't a snake move.
This is not a snake move.
The snake move was to Golden State. This is I want to go make this franchise relevant, and that's what he's going to do. Him and Kyrie together. It's not going to be just him, which I think was important to him, but also something I do find interesting.
Okay.
I thought Kevin Durant wanted to make sure everybody knew that this was his own decision, that nobody was helping him make this decision. Kyrie Irving basically facilitated this decision getting made, right? Because he was the first one to make it obvious he was going to Brooklyn, and now they're kind of together.
It does kind of feel like all of a sudden Durant announces, lets it leak an hour early.
Right.
In order to say, I picked first.
Yeah.
Officially, unofficially there. All right, YouTube comment coming in from E2G says, Brooklyn about to win the finals. What do you think of that one, Jimmy?
I don't think so. Not quite. I mean, if they are just rolling out a lineup without Kevin Durant, which they would be right now, they're not the favorites to win the finals because, look, Kyrie Irving can't carry a team to the NBA Finals. Now, what I do believe they could end up being is an incredible regular season team, without a doubt. And I think they could be top 3 in the Eastern Conference. I'd still put Milwaukee over them. And I would still, if Kawhi goes back to Toronto, I'd still put Toronto over them for now. Now, a lot can change in free agency, but right now those are the two. I can't think of a team besides those two that are unequivocally better than them.
I think that's fair. With Milwaukee being so much in their future being a question mark right now because we haven't seen what they do in free agency. Same with Toronto there. I think the East does set up very well for the Brooklyn Nets. Again, this is their unit right now. Their overall top 10, their stars and their top 5 bench guys. Garrett Temple could also be coming here. That one is another report out there at the moment that we'll dive into later on in the show. But, of course, Kevin Durant rightfully taking this thing called priority right now. And even if they, for whatever reason, Temple gets hurt or something, it's still a great unit. I mean, this Brooklyn team all of a sudden has gone from, you know what, they're being pretty good to, hey, this team's going to make a lot of noise in the East. And for, I think, several years in a row now. Yeah,
and especially, the next 2 years, if nothing else, and then you get Kyrie 4 years and then Kevin Durant 4 years. For the next 4+ years in Brooklyn, things are going to be interesting. Things are going to be super exciting. If you're a Nets fan, man, that's got to be such a good feeling. Going from one of the worst teams in the league for quite a while, and then going from a team stuck in cap hell with no draft picks, and then now you're a team that just made the playoffs, and you're set up for title contention in the next 2 years. That's incredible.
Might have seen another flip here out in the Eastern Conference. Last year we had the Cavs. They fell apart without LeBron. The Raptors and the Bucks to take a step forward. Now with Kawhi's uncertainty, maybe it's the Nets' turn to take a big step forward here. But overall, in the end, Jimmy, the Nets do what the Knicks wanted to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And Knicks are the biggest loser in this scenario. Now, they can still recover. I think there's still an opportunity for them to recover somehow, some way. But it's going to take a lot to move on from Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving going to Brooklyn.
And so Kevin Durant heading to the Brooklyn Nets on a 4-year, $164 max deal. He will join up with Kyrie Irving and DeAndre Jordan. Brooklyn off to a fantastic start in NBA free agency.